Hello, my name is Kyle, and today is October 9th, 2020, and today I will be having French bread pizza from Stouffer's, the no toppings variety, just cheese. This is due to the fact that one of the comments on the last video requested that I have gourmet frozen pizza. Now, I didn't quite know what that meant, but in comparison to other frozen pizzas, Stouffer's is a little bit higher quality and definitely different. So I decided to go for their French bread pizza as a gourmet frozen pizza. So today, that is what I will be eating for dinner. I'm going to start by explaining how exactly I made this pizza. Now, I actually have the box right here behind the camera so that I can read off how exactly you make a French bread pizza from Stouffer's. First, you take it out of the plastic wrapping that's within the box, and you just have 2 frozen pizza slices, and you put them in the toaster oven. I personally put them in my toaster oven. You could also use a regular oven or even a microwave, but this is the toaster oven variety. You preheat the toaster oven to 325 degrees. After that, you put in the French bread pizza for 24 minutes. After 24 minutes, your toaster oven will ding and you'll take it out and it'll be quite hot. So what I actually like to do is wait for 10 minutes for it to cool off so that it's not too hot for my mouth. Similar to the soup, except you can't put ice cubes in pizza, so I just wait for it. I'm gonna have my first bite. It might be a little too hot still, but we'll see. No, not too hot at all. I'd actually go as far as to say much less hot than the soup even was with the ice cubes. But yeah, the French bread pizza from Stouffer's, when I was younger, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I've actually grown to like the taste quite a bit. However, I didn't have any in the fridge. And due to the comment request, I decided to go to my local 7-Eleven, which has a freezer section where they have frozen foods. And I picked up a Stouffer's French bread pizza. Now, one thing actually, there's 2 big things about French bread pizza, or any pizza for that matter, especially frozen pizza. First of all, it gets a little dry, especially in the toaster oven. So because of that, I have a drink, and I actually planned ahead this time. So I have my Starbucks Frappuccino, vanilla flavor, as the drink I'll be having in today's episode. Very good. Actually, I'm going to leave the cap off so that it's, easier to drink instead of having to open and close every time. One thing about the Starbucks Frappuccinos, I'm a big fan. They are a bit expensive for what is, 13 ounces of coffee. But, they're nice, and while I was at 7-Eleven, I decided to pick one up. Actually, I picked up 2. They were having a decent deal. It was 2 for $5, I want to say, which is not bad whatsoever. But yeah, not exactly the normal combination I would have with French bread pizza, but, it's good to try new things. Now, that second thing that I was talking about that is problematic about pizza is it's a finger food. You don't use utensils when you're eating pizza. You use your hands. Now, I said this in the last video, and I'm probably going to say it again because it is something that I really take into consideration when rating foods. I don't like to touch my food. I washed and sanitized before eating to ensure that I wouldn't, get any diseases or viruses on my food. But I still just don't like the way it feels. It makes my hands dirty afterwards. And it could get me sick. So I don't like it when my food has to be eaten with my hands instead of with some sort of utensil. One thing, though, in comparison between Stouffer's French bread pizza and, your average frozen pizza, is obviously Stouffer's is made on a slice of French bread instead of being made on, a pizza pie. So it is much more similar to like a deep dish pizza than your average New York style pizza, which someone growing up in my area is probably much more used to. Now, one thing with the combination between the two foods, it's a bit of a weird one because, pizza, not exactly known for being sweet, but Frappuccino, pretty sweet. So you end up in a place where both of the milk products are actually fighting each other. Cheese and Frappuccino have very different uses for milk. And, it just ends up with a very sweet product with a relatively savory product. It's a decent combination, but not necessarily one that I would aim to strive for on a daily basis. Getting crumbs all over my finger, that's why I keep rubbing my fingers together. Again, I don't like when I have to use my hands to eat my food, but can't always win. Another reason that I chose French bread pizza over regular pizza, especially from Stouffer's, is the quality is a little bit higher. Now, I mentioned this earlier that someone had recommended that I have gourmet frozen pizza. Again, I don't exactly know what that means, but the quality of French bread pizzas are, in my opinion, a little bit better than that of your average frozen pizza, meaning that it is the closest I could get to meeting my request. Now, we don't think I quite delivered on getting a gourmet frozen pizza. Recommend what exactly you think that entails in the comments. Maybe a DiGiorno pizza or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But just make sure you recommend in the comments what exactly you think it entails so that I know and so that it can be fully accomplished. the crust gets really dry. Gotta wash it down with some Starbucks Frappuccinos. Everything being said, the French bread pizza, though, does have a really good taste for a frozen pizza. It has, you know, some sort of variety of spices mixed in with the sauce. On top of that, the cheese is not too thick on there, nor is the sauce. It's actually just a nice thin layering, and then the bread is where the majority of it is. You can actually see that if I show you a side of the pizza. One thing, though, that having pizza, a milky kind of coffee, and a mustache as well, means that, you know, it gets in your mustache, and it is actually kind of annoying. So I'm going to be right back, because as I did bring my drink before the recording, I did forget my paper towel. Got to keep the mustache clean, you know, otherwise it just gets all gross, and nobody likes a gross mustache. Now, one thing that I would like to complain about real quick is Starbucks Frappuccinos, as I mentioned towards the beginning of the video, are relatively small. So if I'm having a meal like this, and I decide to have one accompanying my meal, well, it runs out way before the pizza does. Now, one thing about using a slice of bread, a slice of French bread to be exact, for a pizza instead of using, you know, your regular round piece, is there's no crust. What you do have are these little end pieces, where it's not like the other pieces where it's, you know, long and thick. By the way, I personally cut up the pieces myself. You don't have to do that. It just makes it easier to consume, but you end up with end pieces, right? Now, these end pieces are much drier than the other pieces. They're almost like a crust, because the people who make the French bread pizzas at the factory, I'm assuming, where Stouffer's makes their food, well, they just don't quite reach the entirety of the end pieces. So there's always, if you look at that, like the top part is just missing sauce and cheese, and that makes the whole thing drier, which means that a drink is even more necessary. But if you're having a Starbucks Frappuccino, you're gonna run out by the time you get to your second end piece. So I'm actually gonna have my second end piece before my last middle piece to ensure that I still have a drink when I have the end piece. And now, my drink is fully gone. But yet, I still have a pizza. So I'm going to finish this slice, and then I'm going to rate the Starbucks Frappuccino and the Stouffer's French bread pizza. Okay, so that is all for, the eating. Now it's time to rate both the French bread pizza and the Frappuccino. I'm going to start with the entree, the French bread pizza. Now, it's not anything incredible, but as far as frozen pizzas go, it's better than average. And I'm actually quite a big fan of pizza. A lot of other people are too, but it's just, something that I always grew up eating and obviously still like to this day. So that being said, I'd probably give the French bread pizza a 6. I would normally give it a 7, but due to the fact that, just like any other pizza, you can't do much besides use your hands to pick it up and eat it, I can't give it a 7. I just can't. So I'm going to have to give it a 6. Remember, a 5 or better is still considered good. So it is above the average food, but it is not something incredible. That being said, now on to the Starbucks Frappuccino. Vanilla flavor to be exact. So, for this drink, I definitely think there is not enough bang for your buck. It is less than the Mountain Dew that I reviewed last week, but more expensive. That being said, the taste is quite nice. All things considered, I think I'll probably give it a 7. It ran out before my meal was done, but it was still a very delicious drink. I think, though, something that I would like to note is the combination of the two aren't great, because something like a French bread pizza requires that you have more of a drink due to the fact that it's kind of dry. And not having a lot of a drink makes that a problem. So, I think that's all we have for today's episode. My name is Kyle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more food reviews. Bye.